Hi there, this is a quick instructional video on how to upload new logos to the logo library using the ABC tool. Currently, the ABC tool is located at this URL. You can see in my browser bar here. That's subject to change, so just make sure that you have the most up-to-date information before you proceed. Since the last few videos we've put up about the ABC tool, we've introduced a login feature, so you're going to need to have an account and a password in order to be able to use any of the features that we talk about today. So just make sure that that's taken care of before you go ahead and attempt this tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. I'm going to put in my username, which is that, and this is my password, which you can't see. I'm going to press enter, and now I'm logged in. And what this video is concerned with is the logo library. However, you can see in the nav bar we have all the other tools. So the login experience should be fairly consistent throughout. Some of these options may or may not be available to you depending on what privileges you've been given for your account. So you may or may not be able to add items to the databases. You may or may not be able to add other accounts or change your account settings. But for now, let's head over to the logo library and have a look at what we have in store there. So here we are in the logo library, and as you can see, we have logos that we've already put up, and all the various options that are associated with that. We can search for our different logo attributes in order to find something that we're looking for. In this case, we don't really need to do that, so I'm going to close the search. If we do search for something, we can always clear it with this button, just for your information. And then we also have grids that we put up alongside our logos to make things more accessible in terms of the files that we have in store for a given school. So in this case, here's a grid for A.Y. Jackson Secondary School. You can see that we've got their logo that they've sort of submitted to us. Their mascot's the Jaguars, so we have different Jaguar graphics sort of throughout this grid for various different backgrounds and stuff. And you may have to upload a grid at some point, you may not, but we're just going to go through the process of uploading individual logos for this tutorial. So as you can see, there are a couple of options for adding things up here, and by the time you're actually using this, you probably will have icons to help you figure some of these things out as well. But for now, we just have add new item and add new items via CSV. There's a separate tutorial on our channel for adding items via CSV. And you should go ahead and watch that, absolutely, but just make sure that you finish watching this one first, because we just want to go over the basics of how uploading an item goes with respect to the logo library. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add New Item now. As you can see, this brings us to this this pane here, which is called Add New Items to Database. There are a number of controls towards the bottom. As you can see, most of them are blanked out because we haven't filled in enough information at this top row here. Typically, uploading things to the ABC tool, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be following these sort of red markers or bolded text, and if none of that's present, then generally the minimum you'll have to fill out is the top row, and that's pretty indicative. This is pretty indicative of that nature here. So it asks for a graphic ID, and it says that this is necessary. This is probably going to change in the near future because the graphic ID system is something we have in an in-house database that won't necessarily apply to what you're putting up. So what I like to do for graphic IDs, especially given that you know, not everything is going to be following a consistent naming system, is I like to just give it a descriptive graphic ID. So say I have a logo that is of... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go and find some logos to actually show you guys how this works. And I should have done this before, to be perfectly honest with you, but I didn't, so we're doing it live. Actually, you know what? Let's just take a logo down, and we can do it with one of those. So I'm just going to actually end up demonstrating to you how this works. So say I want a text logo. I'm going to search the library, I'm going to look up logo type. I want text logos. Here are some text logos. I'm just going to minimize this. And yeah, let's go with this Chiefs logo. So I'm just going to get the CorelDRAW file for this. And one thing that I definitely recommend, especially if you're using the ABC tool for, if you're using it a fair bit for numerous different purposes, is that once you download Corel files, just tell your browser to automatically open them. It saves you a fair bit of time. So what I just did there was I clicked the Get Corel Draw File button here, and it downloaded a Corel Draw file, obviously, and then it opened it right away. So, whoops, I didn't want that. No, thank you. No, okay, here we go. Here's the Corel file I wanted. So as you can see, the file itself is actually named after the database ID that the Logo library is given this entry. So it's 3258. That doesn't really mean anything. It's just a way for the software to track the actual. It's a way for the software to track how many files it has in its database. So, other information about this file before we downloaded it was a graphic ID, which was actually arbitrary. That's just that was actually just a serial number. It was 825 of a set of 10,000. Its mascot is obviously Chiefs. It's a text logo. It's a pro logo. It's not a pro logo. Sorry. It doesn't have a sport or activity associated with it. It's not being used by anyone at the moment. We haven't listed any uses for it, and it is vectorized. So these fields are some of the things that you can fill out when you put the logos into the database, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. Let's just have a look at our Corel Draw file right now. It's ready to be put up. We don't have to set it up in any particular way. We just need to make sure that we have a vectorized. As you can see, it's not aliasing as I zoom in and out. You need to have. It's always best to have rather a vectorized copy of the logo. If you don't have a vectorized copy of the logo, what's going to happen is you're going to have a bitmap export of the logo, and you're also going to have that bitmap placed inside a Corel Draw file, and you're going to upload both. And I'll show you that in just a moment. So going back to the logo library, let's just pretend that this logo isn't in the database for a moment, and we're going to say add new item. So for the graphic ID, I'm just going to put in something arbitrary, but something that's descriptive nonetheless. So in this case, I'm going to put in Chiefs _1. We can just pretend that this is the only Chiefs logo that we've ever put up, so we're going to call it Chiefs _1. Number of colors doesn't necessarily have to be accurate, but it's required on this single upload feature for the moment, just because it won't accept an upload otherwise. So I'm just going to put in 2 because if we take a look, it is a 2-color logo. It's just orange and black. Image file. So this is what I was talking about before. So the logo library expects 2 files for every entry in the database. One is an image file, and that's what it uses to preview items within the actual database. So in the previous window, for all the items in the grid, you would have seen a small icon, and that's the file it refers to display that small icon. This image file you're going to upload here, and then of course the Corel Draw file. So what we're going to do is we're just going to head to Corel Draw again, and we're going to export. So I'm hitting Control E, and what we want to do is export a PNG file. That's to preserve transparency and to also preserve consistency, obviously. So it doesn't really matter what the file's called. In the case of single uploads, it can be named anything. If you watch the CSV video, you can see that file naming in multiple uploads is a bit more complex and a bit more of a convoluted process. So in order to make sure that things are kept consistent on that side, that's why we require that, but in this case it's not important. So that's why I'm just going to export this as whatever it's called, and I'm just going to make sure I'm exporting it to the right place. So I'll put it in the downloads folder I have, because that's where the original file is. I believe it should be here. Make this. Let's have faith in it. So PNG going out to download. Export. I'm okay with this. If it lets me click OK. It's really interesting. Oh yeah, just click PNG 24. 24 bits ideal. You know, highest bit depth you can afford. Click OK there. If I go ahead and look in my downloads folder, it's just off screen here. I'll pull it in to show you in 1 second. So yeah, here you can see, oh, I don't know why it's not dragging, there we go. Here you can see 3258 and 3258 CDR. These are the two files I'm going to be uploading. So if we go back to the logo library, I'm going to choose my CorelDRAW file. Doesn't matter what order you do this in, as long as you make sure the CorelDRAW file goes into the CorelDRAW and the PNG file goes into the image file. So I'm going to put the CorelDRAW file into the CorelDRAW file upload box. I'm going to click choose file here, and I'm going to use 3258 PNG. Actually, there's another way you can do this. You can just drag them in. So if I open up the downloads folder here and click on 3258, you can just drag it here and it should, yep, perfect. And as you can see, whoops, didn't mean to do that. As you can see, the preview has already come up. So we're actually ready to go ahead and upload this now, so fingers crossed. I'm going to click add as new logo, and we'll see what happens. Yep, you can see the database is refreshed. So if I search the library, I'm going to look up that graphic ID I put in. So I'm going to put in Chiefs _1, and you can see one item matches our search, so hopefully it's the one we put up just now. And for some reason it's not giving me the image preview, but if I click on it, it's interesting. And sorry about that, that was just a quick mishap with the code, which was still being worked on while I was working on this tutorial. So once you actually do this, you will actually get the file working properly. Shouldn't be any issues there. So once you've uploaded the file, you can see that we've only put in the bare minimum of information here. But of course, if you had the information for the file, or if you came across it later, you could always put it in, either while you were putting it up in the first place or afterwards. Most of it's pretty self-explanatory. Things that we generally request that you put in are things like the mascot, so Chiefs in this case. Try and maintain capitalization, it just kind of looks better. Pro logo, obviously not. Sport activities doesn't really have an obvious one associated with it. Primary color in this case, I don't think we have an orange. Oh yeah, we do have an orange here. There's orange. Vectorized, yes, of course. Logo type, we're going to call it a text logo. Let's say we're going to use this for print. It's going to be sold in, let's just not fill that in for now. And it's unused. And if we wanted to, we could actually update the files as well. So we could say, choose updated file for the CorelDRAW and the PNG respectively, and keywords, let's call this test, and we're going to call this also test upload. So notes would be for longer things. You could write a whole sentence, you can write it for a bit. Keywords, we'd like you to separate by comma, you know, or actually you could put in a slash as well, so test tutorial demonstration test upload for demonstrative purposes. Return to logo library uploads. There are a couple buttons down here that we haven't talked about here yet. So save changes obviously will actually save my changes. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So there. If I click on it again, it should pull everything up that I had there. Don't know why it didn't do it. Maybe I need to refresh. Yeah, this is a bit buggy. If you save changes or delete anything, just refresh and then find it again. That should be fixed in the near future, so just bear with us on that one, but at the moment that's what you're going to have to do. So you can see the information is actually updated there. All I had to do was refresh the page. As for other things, other useful things that you might want to know, if I want to undo my changes and go back to where I was before I started editing an item, I can click discard changes. Just be careful with this. It will get rid of all the changes you've made. You can't selectively change something, so I can't just change the sport activity if I change that. I'd be reverting everything I just did. So if I click it, you can see everything resets. So select and notes, or rather sport activity and notes description in this case were reverted back to normal. And obviously all the usual tools are here as well. You can get the CorelDRAW file if you want to edit it and then upload it again. You can get the image file and edit it and then upload it again. That all works. You can change any of the information in any of these boxes. Just make sure you adhere to the formats that are provided to you. So in the case of postal codes, it won't let you put in more than 6 digits. so on and so forth. I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this upload now, just to show you how that works, and also because it really shouldn't be here. So I'm going to click delete, and as you can see, it takes us to this page that says, "Are you sure?" I'm sure. This item cannot be recovered once deleted. This is true. You can't actually delete anything. You can't actually recover. So just make sure you're sure of things if you need to delete them. Of course, if you mess something up during an upload, if your image isn't showing, if your Corel Draw file isn't downloading correctly after you uploaded it, you can delete it and try again. And if that doesn't work, just get in touch with us, and we'll see if it's something that we can't fix. So you can return to editor from there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete it again, and I'm going to say delete forever. And as you can see, it's still going to show the same number of items that were there before. I'm going to refresh, and there we are. There's one less now. So that's another thing that you need to just keep in mind. If you edit something or delete it, you need to just refresh the page right after you do that. We'll figure something out for that in the very near future. But just for now, that's what you're going to have to do. So that should answer all your questions as far as uploading things to the logo library goes. This video should be available somewhere at the top here. Just for the next little while, we'll get people on board with the process, and then we'll take it down and put it somewhere nicer. So for the moment, thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and have a great day.